Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with the weekly news and review for February 9th, 2020. 2020. A lot of great things. There's a lot of buzz going on about Wonderfest and the great reveals we have there. Takara is stepping up their game, finally revealing their next two projects, the FT50 and 51. There's so much to talk about. Earthrise. There's so much to talk about. Masterpiece. Let's get right into it. Let's start off with fun Masterpiece stuff. Takara has shown they're making an RC, and they showed this at their Wonderfest of 2020. And yes, it's Transformers 2010 is what their season 3 was called, so it was after the movie, and the movie figures are pretty cool. I'm obviously going to have to make a whole other video just about Wonderfest to break down all the stuff that's going on here. But when you see from this picture right here, you can kind of see in the back you have the Masterpiece Ultra Magnus. To the left you have the Hot Rod. You have their RC in the middle. And I think she looks great. And the obvious problem is she's mistransformed with the chest too low. You can see every mechanism that could lift that chest right up into place. And I don't know how they let this happen. And I'm sure when we see promo pics, this thing's going to look amazing. I, for one, have not been happy with any of the RC options available. And I have all of them except MMC. MMC's coming in. Firebird's coming in. I'm going to review them all. I'll have all of them for comparison when I get this one. Price on this one is going to be about $145. 16,000 yen? Is that what? 16,000? And she looks great. Chest put in place properly will look amazing. And I do want to say that I have been disappointed in Fans Toys in this one, both on aesthetic, transformation, and just, well, I'm not happy with the Fans Toys one. Oddly enough, I think I'll be happy with this one. I do want to point out, Takara is almost showing their failure in this because they're using their like a chug version of Springer, a chug version of their cup. So yeah, that's showing a fail. This is the most beautiful alt mode also. You know, Takara, you may want to have complaints about Takara, breakage, fragility, some issues that you have with Takara, price. You cannot deny that it looks amazing in both modes. This alt mode looks outstanding. So does the bot mode if transformed properly. I can't wait to get it in my hands. Hopefully it actually comes out in 2020. Well, this is FT50, Tiger Tracks, and you're like, well, Mike, why didn't you leave with FT50? Why did you plead with FT51, which is RC? Well, I think RC is more relevant to my viewer base than Tiger Tracks. And truth be told, I'm not as excited about this character as other characters in the Beast Wars genre and the Beast Wars show. I actually absolutely love the show Beast Wars. I did not like the toys of the time. I liked the Masterpiece representations. And I did actually just review a KO of Megatron. Now, I paid $105 for a KO of Megatron versus the $320. This guy's gonna be $220, and I don't think it's really worth the price point. It should have been more of the $160. Now, size-wise, he's gonna be somewhere in the middle of Optimus Prime, the Optimal Optimus, and Dinobot, so he's gonna be in the middle there. Price-wise, I guess $220 is the expectation. If you get through Amazon Japan, you'll probably get it for $180 or something like that. If I could get them for $150 through Amazon Japan, I'll probably bite the bullet. If not, I'll wait 2 years for a KO because the character itself, in my opinion, isn't the greatest in the Beast Wars genre. So Wonderfest brought us a camouflage green version of Optimus Prime. Pretty cool, actually. I actually like this color scheme and this look, and I think it fits the mold really well. It's really not for me, though. But in the end, I like the look of it. I think it's pretty cool. And wouldn't you be the coolest person on the street if you're Optimus Prime MP10 that's outdated mold match the shoes you're wearing that day. Or even cooler, the shoes you'll never wear, right? Right? They also wanted to show the C-Cons, the Generation Select figures. You know, the reason they're really pushing this is because they're going to actually offer it through the Takara Tomy Mall for $260. And if you missed the Pulse or the Hasbro Pulse options, which would have made it like $235 for the set, I mean, it's not really that much more. It's not that big of a deal, price difference-wise. And I think it's a good-looking set. I really wished it was bigger, like more like Predaking and Devastator of the Combiner Wars? Yeah, of the Combiner Wars. But in the end, it's still a good looking set, and one of the better looking sets, even versus third party. So we got to see more Studio Series versions of their Devastator, and this is quite a bit actually if you look at it. And here are the figures individually, and they also showed a combined mode, which I think when you look at a Devastator, whether it's the movie Devastator or G1 Devastator, the combined mode is the most important. So anyway, this is what it looks like in combined mode. I mean, it looks okay. It looks a lot like it. I think this looks way better than the one they made back in the day, and I think that's what Studio Series goal is. You know, back in the day, the toys matched the show, I think, better than the toys matched the G1 show in the G1 era. But nowadays, we're getting even closer to screen accurate with what the Studio Series is doing. So for those fans of this era, they're getting something they really want. I am an absolute sucker for displays and how they set the displays up. And they had this pyramid set up really cool. I like that. I mean, I remember it from the movie, and I like that they could do stuff this great and this awesome. So I'm looking forward to Toy Fair because they always do a great job with these displays. They go the extra mile to show off the toys and present them in such a way that it makes sense in these displays. There's also this, I don't know what you call him, the purple version of a Seeker, and he's available to sell for, I don't know, they call him the Paraling Toys Jet. And I think they've had this as an exclusive for many different years. We also got to see the Starscream, and this is the packaging, I guess. It's interesting. It looks like something that's super dumbed down, but on the flip side, it feels super G1, like something you would have gotten back in the day. So I kind of understand the appeal of it, but I don't really know how you would display it unless you have a whole bunch of them. If you had a whole bunch of them, it would look really good. So I talked about this pop culture statue for the museum scale Optimus Prime. I want to say a few things about this. Last week we got introduced to it. This week we got the details about it. It's going to be 22.5 inches tall. I guess that's to the tip of the gun. So that's not to his head. So in my scaling, I go to the head is the height of a figure, not whatever. But so maybe you knock a bit off and it's only like 16 inches tall to the head. I don't know 100%. But if you're collecting these statues and you're spending what this statue's going to cost $800, you're on a whole different level than I am when it comes to collecting. Because I have to admit, the HasLab Unicron that's way bigger than this and transforms and is more complex for $550 was hard to stomach for $550. So $800 for a posed statue that will not move, transform, or do anything is tough. But the trade-off is it looks absolutely amazing. Now, a lot of people have submitted their collections. They have statues, and I understand why people spend the serious amount of money on statues. In fact, when the statues are done getting released and sold out, they go through the roof on the secondary market. I understand that too. If you're a collector that collects for value and increase and sell it off to buy 2 more new statues or something, I mean, maybe that's something that you do. But I'm not part of this world. It is too expensive for me. So I want to throw this out there for those of you guys who maybe want to get the Phoenix X Show Z still has a Phoenix X, or a few, I don't know how many, actually. 1, 2, 3, 5, I don't know. And it's $400. Now, yes, that's a lot of money, but if you buy it through them, there's no state tax through eBay or nonsense like that. And it's one of those things that's going to be brand new. You don't got to worry about if it's missing something or broken or whatever, or was mishandled or mistransformed or anything like that. Now, shipping is supposed to resume on the 10th, meaning Monday or tomorrow. And if you order something through Show Z, they should be shipping it out. Now, I'm not going to guarantee that, because whatever it takes to contain whatever's going on over there, they need to do it. So, end of story. I won't complain if they put it off till March 31st. If that's what it takes, no complaints here at Titanium Hangar. So next I want to talk about Shout Factory at shoutfactory.com. If you go to their webpage, you can pre-order this 15-disc set of the Transformers 98 episodes, the original G1, and it's $54.99. If you wait, it's going to be like $5 more. No, $10 more if you wait for it to get released. So you pre-order it now, you get it $10 cheaper. I'm considering this because I'm watching old episodes. They do not look the greatest, and I can appreciate watching them in high definition, or the way they should be watched. I mean, I feel like I'm watching them when I watch them, and they're not the greatest quality. But this set would definitely be the greatest quality, in my opinion. I haven't watched it yet, but they say it's going to be the best that we've seen so far. So we've got a group of people that built sort of an ARC ship that it houses Masterpiece figures. This thing's amazing. I mean, this was, what's a group of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Group of 12 people here making this ARC ship. This is absolutely amazing. Could you imagine displaying your display in this ARC ship? I mean, a lot of people think, we need the ARC. We need a ship like this for our next HasLab project. Not gonna happen. If it happens, it'll happen on 1/3 or 1/4 of the scale of this. This thing's amazing with pull-away panels, and it reveals amazing looking detail on the inside. I really love the way they did this. It looks outstanding. It is awesome. They didn't deck it out with 100% Masterpiece figures, but it would be a Masterpiece display. If you were to display your Masterpiece in it, it would be Masterpiece. This is a lot of classics and legends and Hasbro mainline also. Here's how it looks next to some cartoonage with all of the panels covering it up. This thing is outstanding. You know, I love when people do passion projects such as this. And this took a team. This isn't one dude making a Metroplex. Here's another angled shot at it. It looks like it has lighting and internal lighting, and that is outstanding. Just beautiful. I love it. I don't know where I'd put it. If I had it, you know what? Actually, I know where I'd put it. If I had this, I have a spot for it already. So summer of 2021, we're going to see the revival of Botcon. Botcon is back. And, you know, it's one of those things, I never went to Botcon, but I absolutely love the stuff that comes out of these kind of conventions. And I'm not sure why we didn't see one last year. Is it last year? Or we won't see one this year, for sure. We'll see one next year. But it's kind of interesting, exciting. They always have their own sort of exclusives. I kind of hate exclusives, to tell you the truth. But the reality of it is, it brings some new figure to the forefront that would not have been brought to the forefront if it wasn't for this convention.
Transformers War for Cybertron Earthrise.
This is Optimus Prime. Autobots, convert to battle stations. Weaponize. And prepare for battle on Earth.
New Transformers War for Cybertron Earthrise. Each sold separately.
So, for those of you Earthrise fanatics that are out there, and you know who you are, because, well, I know who I am, and they're starting to show up at Targets. Not at Walmart yet, but soon. And I went to a couple Targets today. I didn't find them. I was kind of sad. I found some of the Micromasters, and I'm not so into the Micromasters myself personally. I will probably rebuy Singe and whatever the other one is as a Target Master because I think those are cool. But if you're in for this, check your Targets because Target is getting them first. And they're selling out fast, by the way. And people are posting all over the country that they're getting it, so everywhere it's hitting hard. So if you wondered what would my Earthrise trailer look like on my Siege Optimus Prime, well, guess what? I got the pictures for you right here. And yeah, that's what it looks like. I still think that the Earthrise Prime in alt mode is vastly superior to even what they're showing here in the picture is the comic version or the toon version or whatever of Optimus Prime. I like the Earthrise alt mode so much more than what they did with Siege. Now the Siege Prime itself looks amazing. I don't think we'll ever see this sort of comic version or toon version or whatever you want to call that in the Earthrise mode. I think the Earthrise is what it is and we'll get what we get. And I'm kind of curious what they do with Megatron. So before we get into Star Wars, I do want to talk about this Aliens line that's showing up at Walmart. I think it's really, really cool. Not just because the aliens and the Queen Alien and all of that, but there's some other stuff like this car. This car is cool. It was in the show. I always thought it was kind of freaky futuristic, but kind of futuristic and, I don't know, weird at the same time. I thought it was silver, not green. But anyway, I think that's cool. It's a super low price point toy. It's made as the corpse, kind of the corpse kind of cheap figures, but it has alien stuff to it. And I think this is great. It would mix well with Joe or Star Wars or anything you're in on. And, you know, here is the Queen Alien with kind of that whole second head or tongue or whatever coming out. And I think that's really cool. This is a little function and feature they have. This is like $20 for this Queen Alien. So it's the highest price point item. And the rest are 15 or less. So it's a really cheap toy line. You can buy it all for well under $100 to get everything that they're putting out for it. And I think it's interesting, but you know, they really should have never made a toy line based off of the Aliens movie. That was super scary back when it came out in the 80s. So looking at some Star Wars stuff, we have the Imperial Probe Droid for the Black Series coming out, and I cannot wait to get my hands on this. For $30, it's going to be bigger than most Masterpiece or Black Series type 6-inch figures, whatever. But I think it's really going to be cool. I'm excited for it. I think that it came out of left field. I didn't even know they were making this. It has the Star Wars Empire Strikes Back kind of logo to it. 40th anniversary. It's not an exclusive anywhere. These are showing up at the Walmart. So I'm checking my Walmarts every day. I'm going to get it, review it, compare it to my whole plethora of collection of these guys that I have from the past. I have vintage to modern to multiple different moderns. I think this is a really cool item. It's never ever been made before in Black Series, and I don't really see them making it again. It's kind of a one and done in my opinion. So if you watched The Mandalorian, you saw this Imperial troop transport show up in one of the scenes, and I thought it was cool. I didn't even notice how different it was from any of the other iterations that it has come out before. I have the other older iterations myself, and I think it's a cool type of vehicle, and it is awesome. But they did make it in the Rebels line. In the Rebels line, it was slated to be a $30 item, but it never hit any retail store that I knew of ever. I never saw a report of it at retail. I didn't even see it for sale on any online retailers. The only time I ever saw it was at discounters like Ross and TJ Maxx and those places. And it was selling for way cheaper than $30. But then it sells fast, like instantaneously, and then it's gone. Now I happen to get one for myself and a buddy of mine, so I have one. But the reality of this is the new Mandalorian version is bigger, has more play options, there's more to it, but it's $70. That's like double plus some, 250% the price. but it's crazy expensive for what it is, but it's cool, and I like it, and I'm glad that they make it, and I think it really deserves its place in history. And this is only the third iteration if you don't count the vintage as two different versions, because there was the same exact thing, but one had electronics, one did not. So it's pretty cool. I like it. I'm going to be picking one up myself eventually. So I'm kind of a 3.75 inch kind of guy myself. And the 6-inch stuff is kind of something I'm sort of in on, but not 100% in on. But when they do this kind of stuff and they tug on the nostalgia with the packaging, I felt the packaging should have been this from the get-go. But yet, we're getting it only as like reissues. So all these figures that we've seen so far and these pictures that we're seeing that are showing up are reissue pictures. And this figure here, this Princess Leia Organa and Hoth, was actually a reissue. They made a Hoth Leia as a Target exclusive without the vest. Then this one had a 2-pack with another Han. So it's cool, but we've already got this in a way. I'm going to buy it. Next, we have the Luke Bespin. And Luke Bespin has that photorealistic face paint, and he looks good. This was a really hard to find figure for a long time. It was a chase figure. Most people were after this guy because it was hard to get. Now, he's improved with photorealistic face paint, and he's only $20, and he's on what I consider a superior packaging type of ordeal. So I'm definitely picking him up myself, even though I have a couple of the first versions. AT-AT Driver, I have a couple of them too. But the reality of it is, I like the card back. I like the way they're doing it. I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff. I think they're targeting me specifically. They're like, Mike, we're making this for you, bud. Now, this Han Solo, on the other hand, never really showed up at retail. This wave somehow missed retail. I'm sure some Walmarts and Targets somewhere in the country got it, but not here. Not anywhere here ever. And so with that, this figure itself is going to be sought after, even though it's a reissue and a repack. But it's the Bespin Han, and they didn't have him show up very many places. I've got one, but it was like luck, and it was a specialty shop. It wasn't mainline. And last, we're seeing Yoda. Yoda himself showing up at retail, and he's at Walmart as a Spirit version. In fact, Walmart.com has them for $12.99. You can go check right now and look up the Spirit Yoda. That's a Walmart exclusive. They're selling for $12.99. They discounted their Luke to $12.99, but then sold out very, very quickly because that is definitely one of the hottest figures. But Yoda is kind of played out in a way, but I'm still going to buy them again. They had them on the archive wave, last summer? So here we are again with another version. 3 versions of Yoda within less than a year. But I'm going to pick them up because the card back, and it means so much to me, and I've got to have it. So let me know what you think about this weekly news in review. What else happened out there that I missed? What do you think about what I talked about? And there's a lot of exciting things coming. A lot of crazy stuff happened this week. Like, subscribe, Anti-Darum Hanger, out.